In today's video, we are going to be making a Maze Runner style game. So to begin, we're going to start off with a blank scratch project. I'm just going to close these tutorials down like so. The sprites we're going to need our first sprite, which is sprite 1. We're going to rename that to main sprite. And we're also going to need to make 2 more sprites here. So let's add in an apple and let's add in button 1. And we should have 3 sprites like so. We're not going to draw any today, we'll just go with those. Now we're going to start by making our maze backdrop. And to do that, we're going to go to backdrops and then backdrops over here, and it'll bring us to backdrop 1. If we want to add a new backdrop, we can go to the bottom and then paint a new one. But for now, we're just going to edit this default backdrop. So what we want to do is build a sort of maze for our character to run through. Now, it's not going to be a maze in the sense of where you have to, sort of go down wrong paths to go to different places. It's going to be more of a maze where you have to complete objectives in the maze to get to the end. So we're going to start by drawing just our border. We want our fill to be nothing, and we want our outline to be solid, which it should be. And then we're going to just go close to the corner and just draw our border like so. And that'll give us a border all the way around. Now we're going to use the line tool and we're going to start drawing our maze. If I hold the shift key down when I do this, you'll see that I can only go one of, a direction that's completely straight. If I don't do that, I can go in between. So we're going to use this to make sure that our lines are straight. Control Z. Alright, so I'm going to make my character start at the top left here. Actually, I might make him start, we'll go to the top left. And I'm going to draw a long corridor down like so. And I need to leave enough space for the character to always fit through. And I'm going to go across to here. And then I'm going to go across again. And then I'll go up, leave another space. And then I'll go all the way across like so. And now I'm going to make my first little area for the character to explore. There we go. And then I'll make my second little area here. Let's go. I don't want to make it too tricky. I don't like that last one. And you don't have to copy mine exactly. I'll just go across like so, and then across like so, and then maybe one little one there. And over here, we'll go there, 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 there. That might be a bit too short there. I'll go back. There we go. And then this one, I'll do something similar. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Whoop, just needs to be able to fit our character through. There we go. I like that. Alright, so I've got a kind of maze situation going on there. Just by looking at it, obviously you can see where you need to go whenever we put the finish. But I think this will be, we'll put a few objectives around the place and the main character will have to do all those objectives. So let's work on our main character now that we have our maze. So to start with, I'm just going to hide this apple and hide this button. And I'm going to make our main character maybe 25. And that should be small enough to fit through everywhere. I think maybe a little bit big. Let's go 20. There we go. I'm going to move him to the top corner. First thing I'm going to do is add some controls because we want to be able to move the main character around. So under the events area, we're going to say when flag is pushed. And then we're going to go to controls. We're going to grab a forever. And let's grab this if then code and move it just here. I'm going to put in the if then code under sensing the key spaced pushed option. I'm going to right click and duplicate that and right click and duplicate it again so I'll get 4 of them. I'm going to make the first one up, the second one down, the next one right, and the next one left. And what we want to do is when the up key is pushed on the keyboard, character moves up, and same with all the rest of them. So we'll put that in there. To make this work, we need to use the X and Y axis on a graph to make that work. So you can see as I move the character around, you can see his X position and Y position changes. And the higher he goes, the higher the Y position. And so that's how we go up and down. If I go all the way down, you see Y becomes negative. So let's grab our motion, and we'll say when we push the up arrow, we're going to change Y by 10. And we're also going to do the same for the down arrow, except we'll make it -10. And the same applies for left and right. So you can see the more to the right I go, the higher X gets, and the more to the left I go, the lower X gets. So we'll change X by 10 and 10, and obviously negative for left arrow. And that all needs to be under when flag is clicked. So let's start the flag, and you can see he now can move around freely on our maze. So let's keep him in the corner. We're going to add in here, let's put him right into the corner, and then we're going to grab, when we start, go to that position. So now it doesn't matter where we end, let's put him over there. If I push play, he's going to go back there. Alright, now one more thing, we want to restrict him a little more, and we're going to do another control. We're going to say if, and we're going to put this one, we want it to be above these but not on top of. So what I mean is I don't want it to be there. That's bad. So I'm actually going to take it out and put it underneath like so. And stop so it unblurs. There we go. I'm going to say if touching color, there we go. And grab this little one down here, the eyedropper, and grab the color you use to make your borders. If touching that color, I want it to return to this location here. So duplicate, oh, don't want to duplicate all of that, just this bit here. So now when I start the game, if I hit the wall, it puts me back to the start. So there's a bit of an obstacle there with if you touch a wall, you're going to go back to the start. I like that. Alright, so we've got our character moving around. He's doing the right thing. That's great. What we need to do now is put an apple somewhere on our map. So if I click the apple and go show, you can see the apple's a little big. Let's make it 25. Perfect. And I'm going to put the first apple, just for testing purposes, just underneath him. And what I want to say with the apple is when we begin, we're going to say that if touching our main character, we want it to do something. Now in this case, what we want to do is maybe make a score. So we'll have every time he collects an apple, he gets an extra one to the score. Once he's collected all the apples, then the final little portal button thing here opens up, and he can go to complete the level. So to do that, we're going to say if touching main, and we need to get a variable here. So let's make a new variable, and we call this new variable score. And we're going to say when we begin, let's set the variable to 0. And if touching main, we're going to change the variable by 1. Cool. So when we start now, if the character goes down and touches, oh, I left it on my variable. It needs to be score and score. Let's start again. Oh, and you see what happened there. All right, that's going really, really high, really, really fast. So we need to say if touching the main character, we're going to hide and change the score by 1. Let's try that again. Oh, it already disappeared. And we need to say when we start, we want you to show. So play. There we go. So now I can collect that one apple. Did that go back to the start when I collected the apple? No, there we go. Perfect. So when I collect the apple, I get an extra point, and then the apple disappears. So that's perfect for when we add a few more apples. But we're going to do something before we continue with that. Before we make some more apples. Because what we want to do is we want to have a title screen to our game. And if I make a bunch of apples, they're going to appear on the title screen all the time. And I'll show you what I mean by that. Go over to the bottom here and go choose a backdrop and then click paint. And it'll bring us a new backdrop. Drag this backdrop to the top and we're going to name this one intro. Now let's give it a title. So we'll click and we'll call it maze. Oh, there's nothing there because, oops, I have no fill. Actually, don't want fill. Yes, I do. We'll just go black fill. There we go. Maze. Still nothing. There we go. maze runner. And I'm going to make that quite large and put it somewhere in the center-ish. We'll go there. Maze runner. And then, yeah, that'll be fine. What I'm also going to do while we're here, I'm going to add another backdrop. And this one I'm going to call end. And I'm just going to add text saying you win. You win. Make that really big as well. That won't fit. A little smaller. You win. Right in the middle. Perfect. Okay. So when the game starts, I want it to go there. Then I want the player to click maybe a start button. I want it to go here where the game starts. And when they complete the game, I want it to say you win. We don't need a you lose because you can't really lose here. You just keep going back to the start. So we don't need a you lose. All right, let's go back to our main character here. Whoops, code, main character. Now if I hit play, it goes straight to you win or wherever the last backdrop you left it. And that's because we haven't coded where we want it to go. So if we go to events and say when the flag is clicked, and then under looks we'll say switch backdrop to intro, and now when we push play you see it comes to maze runner, and we've got the apple and the main character just sitting there. We don't want that. We'll fix that in just a sec. Before we do that, let's add a button here to move forward. So go to new sprite, click paint, grab the rectangle tool and just make a button size box. Go there and put it right in the middle, and then get your text tool, and I'm going to make the text red. That's fine. And we'll say start, and I'm going to move that and put that right in the center as well. There we go. Go back to code and move that to the middle, and the only code I'm going to put on here is under event. When flag is pushed, I want it to show, and then I'm going to say under event, when this sprite is clicked, I want it to under looks hide, and then I also want it to go to the next backdrop. So if I push play, it brings us here. I click that, and it brings us to the next backdrop. I push play again. Okay, cool. Start button is working just with that simple code just there. All right, back on our main character. So we don't want the main character to appear when we start. So I'm going to go when flag is pushed, and I'm going to say hide and play. Cool. And then I'm going to go to events and say when backdrop switches to, and I've got backdrop 1. I probably should have named it game or something like that, but that's fine. I'll say I want you to under looks show, and then I might actually do that again. I'll say when backdrop switches to end, this will be for later, I want it to hide. Perfect. Alright, let's play. It's not there. I hit start and he's there. Fantastic. I need to do the same thing for the apple. Now we've already got some of this stuff for the apple. We're going to show there and a hide there. So I'm actually going to move that down and move that out. Put that back. Stop. And I'm going to say when the flag is pushed now, where's my hide? It's under looks. Hide. So we don't want it to be there. And then I'll say when backdrop switches to backdrop 1, show. I'll duplicate that. I'll say when backdrop switches to end, hide. Now I probably don't actually need this, to be honest, because it's already going to be hidden if they touch it, right? So I can actually just get rid of that. That's fine. Let me push play. Cool, nothing's there. I hit start. If the character gets that, fantastic, it goes away. Cool. So that's working for now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a few more apples. So if I right click and duplicate the apple, it's going to make another one. I can drag it across. And it also is going to keep the same code as the previous apple. So I'm going to duplicate this 4 times, and I'm just going to move them so they're all in order. And let me just move these apples around the place. I'll put one there, I'll put one there. The score, I'm just going to move down to the bottom. I'm going to put 1 apple up there, and I'm going to put 1 apple just here. Alright, so there's 4 apples to collect. And then lastly, I'm going to get my button, show it. Let's make the button 20. And I'm going to put that just here. Perfect. So when we start, now I've got that showing, so I need to fix that up. What I might do is I might just grab this code here. No, we'll recode this one. So click on your button one. Let's code that so that it doesn't show when we start the game. So event, when flag is pushed, you're going to hide. Whoops, hide. And when backdrop switches to backdrop 1, you're going to show. But we actually don't want that. Let's get rid of that. Let's actually do something a bit more fancy here. We're going to say forever if and we want our score, if score, and we're going to say is greater than 3. So if it's 4 or more, if score is greater than 3, then we want it to show. Perfect. And then I'm also going to go when flag starts, another forever, and if, and what do I want here? I want touching the main character. Then I want it to go to the next backdrop. Alright, let's try that out. So if I push play and start, good, it's not there. And if I now go and get all my apples, 3 and 4, the portal appears. And if I touch the portal, it goes to you win. Fantastic. So let me push play on my game again. Now it appeared, which I don't like. Why did that appear? It appeared because... Let me push play again. There we go. Let me try that again. That's a bit strange that it appeared. 1, 2, 3, 4. And touch. Cool. And I push play again. That's really odd. I'm not sure why it's doing that. There is a way I could kind of fix that up, and look, we may as well do it. I think the reason it appears at the end is, and let me just show you, is because once we get a score of 4, it appears, and then the code just tells it to always be there, as we can see with this code here. It's saying always be there. To fix it up, we can do a bit of fancy code, and we may as well do it. If I make a new variable, I'm just going to call this one special. What I can do with this special variable is I say, well, we're going to make this variable start by being 0. So it's going to be set to 0. And we're going to use an operator, which is the AND operator. We're going to say if score is greater than 3 and special equals 0, then I want you to show. Once the main character touches it, we are going to change or set special to 1. Alright, let's try that out now. And that should work. The only thing is we need it to, when it goes to the next backdrop, hide. So we'll just say when backdrop switches to end, it can hide. Alright, let's try this. Alright, start. Let's grab all the apples. And I don't want this special appearing. I'm actually going to hide that, and I'm going to hide that score as well. Alright, much better. So if I grab all of them, it appears, and if I run into it, hey, it worked. Now if I push play again and again, yeah, and let's just double check. Grab them all one more time. Now I know I'm cheating here. When you play the game, you should make it so you can't, or you just shouldn't click like that. Perfect. Alright, now let me try it once for real. Oh, no, I didn't make it. So that's our Maze Runner game. We've learnt a lot in this one. We've used multiple different backdrops. We've used a couple of different variables, and you've got a good way to control your character here. So I hope you learnt something in that one. I'll see you in the next video.